Students for Peace, Pilipinas. A global family of young people building a world of peace with true love.
If this is your first time visiting on our channel, make sure to hit subscribe and please turn on the notification bell to be notified for the upcoming videos.
Youth, an adventure full of hope and passion. Endless possibilities to achieve our dreams. Where your dreams begin, Youth and Students for Peace. Join us on this adventure. In the 20th century, the age of material civilization, science and technology's swift advancement allowed extreme individualism to run rampant. Pornography, violence, free sex, and drugs dismantled the family. Youth were thrust into a cold and dark world. In the 21st century, we need a balanced approach. More public-mindedness, less destruction, and division. In 2015, the UN set 17 Sustainable Development Goals and is calling for global participation. What then is the key to harmonious and sustainable development? In 1976, Muhammad Yunus, a Nobel Peace Prize laureate from Bangladesh, developed the concept of microfinance. Microfinance has produced sustainable results. The concept has spread to 140 nations globally to alleviate poverty by providing loans to small social units and teaching collective responsibility. Well before this, Dr. Sun Myung Moon and Dr. Hak Ja Han Moon applied this concept in their quest for world peace. They advocated the smallest unit, the family, is where world peace and happiness begins. The family is where we first learn to live for the sake of others. We are calling this concept micro-peace.
Peace begins in the family, specifically in the relationship of parents loving their children unconditionally and children developing the heart of filial love toward their parents. Brought into society, this principle of living for others creates good character in citizens, patriots in nations, and saints in the world. But it all begins in the family.
Greatest peace sprouting from the smallest unit, one human family under God. In 2005, Father and Mother Moon launched UPF with a world tour emphasizing a new vision of peace. Night after night, city after city, visiting one nation per day, they taught that the family is not only the school of love, it is also the cornerstone of world peace. Beginning with the establishment of the Collegiate Association for the Research of the Principle in 1966. The many institutions they have founded convey a vision of peace and teach universal principles that strengthen marriage and the family.
When I was young, I took the Pure Love Pledge and it changed my life. From that day onwards, I was able to build my character and moral values. For the happiness and future of my students, I am continuing teaching Pure Love education at my school.
Father and Mother Moon have established more than 50 educational institutions around the world. MOUs have been signed and character education is being taught in thousands of schools on all continents and in all cultural spheres, East and West. After Father Moon passed away, Mother Moon carried out his intentions and established the Wonno Pyongne Scholarship Foundation, which supports the education of youth and students globally. The Sanok Peace Prize honors and supports heroes who are creating a culture of sustainable peace and are role models for future generations to look back on. On February 23, 2017, Mother Moon, the first international chairwoman of the Women's Federation of World Peace, launched Youth and Students for Peace.
위하여 사는 참 사랑을 실천하는 나눠줘도 더 부족함을 느끼고 더 나눠주고 싶고 이런 마음 자세 이런 환경을 만들어 가야 하는 너희들 앞에 책임이 있다.
With the support of Women's Federation for World Peace and the Universal Peace Federation, YSP is a rapidly growing global network of game changers.
เยาวชนและนักเรียนแห่งสันติภาพคือความหวังและอนาคตของโลกโดยผ่านความรักที่บริสุทธิ์และความกตัญญูจะเป็นจุดเริ่มต้นแห่งความสุขและสันติภาพโลก
एउटा असल परिवार समाज समृद्ध राष्ट्र निर्माणको लागि युवा विद्यार्थी अवस्थाबाट नै सकारात्मक विचार उच्च भलाइ साँचो प्रेमको अभ्यास गर्न आवश्यक छ
À travers la Fédération des jeunes et des étudiants pour la paix, je travaillerai afin d'accomplir de grands rêves.
Youth and Students for Peace, YSP, builds on the past and opens doors of hope for the young generation through academics, service, sports, international exchanges, universal character education, environmental responsibility, among other things. In Asia, Africa, Korea, Japan, the US, Central and South America, Europe and Oceania, YSP is becoming a wave of goodness sweeping the world today. The idea of one family under God is taking root and growing in the hearts of people, young and old alike. Be a part of this global awakening. Let's create a new future working together. We can do it.
Hi and good day everyone! Welcome to IAYSP Filipinas live streaming all the way from Luzon, Visayas and Mindanao, and also to our viewers from different countries. We welcome you all. Hi, I am Yani Ondreesmi Bato, the president of IAYSP Cebu chapter, and I'm going to be your host for today. So, how was your day everyone? And let us know from where you're watching now by commenting down below. So before we proceed to our lecture, let us first witness an intermission number by Janzel Estacio from JHCSC Danag Choir. She will be performing a song entitled Set Fire to the Rain. Let's give her a round of applause.
A little from my heart, and is it frail? The rose still claimed it. It was dark and it was over until you kissed my lips and just saved me. My hands, they were strong, but my knees were far too weak to stand. A side to you that I never knew all the things you'd say that were never true, and the games you play, you would always win, always win. But I set fire to the rain, watch it burn as I touch your face. When it burned, well I cried 'cause I heard it screaming out your name. When I lay with you
Wow, what an amazing and fantastic performance there. Yes, we should keep our passion burning just like a fire. Thank you so much, Ms. Genzel, for sharing your talent to all of us. Let's give her another round of applause. All right, without further ado, for today's lecture, we will be hearing the Session 1 Regional Youth Forum Introduction to be presented by the co-chair of the Universal Peace Federation Asia Pacific, Dr. Robert S. Kittel. The introduction discusses about the biological sketch of Karl Marx, the founder of communism, was reviewed looking into the general influences on his materialistic thoughts, such as his family background, education, social environment, and his break from God. Moreover, Dr. Kittel also introduced the co-founders of UPF and IAYSE, that is Dr. Sun Myung Moon and his wife, Dr. Hak Jahan Moon, affectionately called Father and Mother Moon. This gave the participants insights into their vision, mission, and global foundation on resolving ideological conflicts on the world level. Once again, let us welcome Dr. Robert S. Kittel. A round of applause, please.
Welcome to the Regional Youth Forum. Greetings to the distinguished leaders from the National Youth Commission, the National Task Force for Ending Local Communist Armed Conflict, and the Hands Off Our Children movement. Greetings to the Department of Interior and local government for their support. Especially, we are honored to have our Filipino youth leaders with us today. We will be offering 6 exciting presentations over the next 2 days together. An introduction consisting of the biographical sketch of Karl Marx, the founder of communism, will be presented first. Then, an overview of the life of the co-founders of the Universal Peace Federation, Father and Mother Moon, will follow. Mother Moon also founded the Youth and Students for Peace. This will give insights into their life, mission, and global foundation. Second, the dialectical and historical materialism will be given. Marx misled people by claiming that conflicting contradictions are both essential as part of the natural order and needed for human development. Through this presentation, the universal principles of harmonious give and take action offers a much better explanation of the natural phenomena and social dynamics. Following this, a materialistic view of man will be discussed. Marx falsely assumes that we are just physical beings without a spirit. On the contrary, we are primarily spiritual in nature because God breathed His Spirit into us. Muslims and Christians both believe this. The Marxist economic theory is the final presentation of the critique and counterproposal to communism. The economic theory of Marx is unrealistic, incomplete, and unworkable. The reasons for the economic disasters in communist countries will be exposed. We will also clarify the problems in free market or capitalist societies and offer a viable solution. The 5th presentation is entitled Universal Principles of Peace. Marx wrongly claims that its philosophy is universal. 5 principles will be presented as logical, easily understood counterproposal. You be the judge. Finally, Youth and Students for Peace will introduce an exciting opportunity for you to design your own peace project. This will certainly be a highlight. Let's begin. There have been many communist leaders, but Karl Marx is the father of communism. So we will study in depth his philosophy, not only to highlight his errors, but more importantly to offer a constructive counterproposal based on universal values. There are 4 main influences on Karl Marx: his family background, education, social environment, and his break from God. First, his family background. His family comes from a Jewish rabbinical heritage. They converted to Christianity when Marx was very young, but not for religious reasons. They wanted to avoid persecution as being a Jew, to advance his father's legal career, and later his mother returned to Judaism after Karl Marx's father died. Marx grew up in a family where religion was not taken seriously. He did not even attend his own father's funeral. No wonder Karl Marx advocated the abolition of the family. Education. Marx's father chose to put him in a high school known for its liberal humanist education. As a youth, Marx joined radical young Hegelians. In college, he became an atheist, openly critical of religion and God. He had late-night partying, poor diet, drinking, and chain smoking. As a journalist and editor, he worked for left-wing newspapers. He was banned and arrested in several countries, ultimately lived and died in England. The social environment. This was the age of the Enlightenment. The emphasis was on reason and science. It focused on individual autonomy, and it was critical of government and religion. The social environment. This was also the age of the Industrial Revolution. In 1763, James Watt, a 28-year-old, commercialized the steam engine. It became the greatest single factor in revolutionizing our means of production and travel. As a result, most people lived better lives. But there was great suffering too. Families were uprooted, poor working conditions, low wages, inadequate health care, and child labor. But many of these miseries predated the Industrial Revolution. Karl Marx broke from God. This is reflected in the poems that he wrote. One poem, A Pale Maiden, he says, "My soul, faithful to God, was marked for hell." In another poem, "So God snatched me, my all. Nothing but revenge is left for me." Marx believed religion and God were useless. He did not understand the concept of forgiveness. The doctoral thesis of Marx honored Prometheus, a Greek mythological figure, as the most eminent saint and martyr, because he rebelled against the other gods. When asked to repent, Prometheus said, "I hate all the gods." Marx put this quote in his dissertation. No wonder Marx called religion an opium and sought its destruction. In summary, Marx's thought grew from secularism to criticism to atheism to violent revolution. He sought three things. 1, to abolish the family. 2, to destroy religion. And 3, violently overthrow the state. His intentions were noble: economic and social equality. But intentions do not matter. Actions matter. If I intend to rob a bank, but I do not, then I've done nothing wrong. On a small scale, here is an example of how communism works. Let's say I invite 10 friends over to my home. We sit down at a table and I say, "I have an idea. Let's create a society where everyone is equal." Well, they all agree. Then I tell them, "Take out your wallets and put it in the middle of the table." I take the money out of the wallet and divide it equally among my friends. It's so simple. Now we are economically equal. 3 things happened. The man who gave a little amount of money and gained a lot will be very happy. The man who gave a lot and received only a small amount back, he will be sad, well, maybe even resentful. More importantly, we've just created the environment for economic poverty. What do I mean? The first man who received a lot of money will want to do this again and again. It means he will become more selfish, greedy, uncaring, and lazy. The real reason for his poverty will not have been addressed. The second man, who gave a lot of money and only received a little, may start to complain, saying, "I think this is unfair." Then I will take out a gun and shoot him in front of the others. Then I will ask, does anyone else want to complain? Thirdly, and again most importantly, this creates the condition for economic poverty. Why? Because the next time I invite my friends over, they will leave their money at home. People will hide their money. No one will want to show that they have money for fear it will be stolen or they will be killed. This means the businessman will not invest. No new jobs will be created. There will be a very small tax base and no social economic development. Yes, we are economically equal in poverty and fear. Here is an idea that communists do not consider. Because a violent revolution is the only, I repeat, only way to equality in their system of thought. How about this? I help the poor man by giving him education and job training. I can also teach him how to manage his financial assets more productively. To the rich man, I would incentivize, encourage him to invest, and I will teach him that he should treat his employees like family members. I would encourage all people to be religious. Why? Because religious people are the most charitable givers. I would also advocate strong marriages and families, because more than a college education, your marital status, getting and staying married, determines your financial well-being. Democratic capitalism, based on the rule of law, human rights, and religious freedom, have lifted more people out of poverty than any other form of government. Period. The co-founders of the Universal Peace Federation, UPF, are Father and Mother Moon. They offer the deepest and most profound insights into the fallacies of communism. They are from South Korea, the land of K-pop. UPF was founded in 2005 and holds general consultative status with the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations. Father Moon sponsored and supported more activities for the peaceful opposition of communism than anyone in human history. His work started in the 1960s and continues to this day. He built a global network and invested billions of dollars. Here are a few of his examples. The International Federation for Victory Over Communism in 1968. The World Anti-Communist League in 1970. The Freedom Leadership Foundation in 1969. The World Rally for Korean Freedom with 1.2 million people in Korea in 1975. The God Bless America Festival in Washington, D.C. in 1976. The End of the Soviet Empire Conference in 1985. Causa, which means cause, was a reference to God, and this educational material has been used primarily in Latin and South America. 3 daily newspapers in Seoul, Tokyo, and Washington, D.C. In 1994, the U.S. Congress unanimously passed the Parents' Day resolution. It became an official United States government holiday. The Universal Peace Federation was established in 2005. After inaugurating UPF in New York City, Father and Mother Moon embarked on a world tour where they personally launched UPF in chapters around the world. They visited up to 100 nations in as many days. Imagine that. You are 86 years old, and you are visiting one nation per day, day after day, non-stop. Here is a picture of Father and Mother Moon being received by President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo during their tour in 2005. A few years later, Father and Mother Moon sent the Little Angels dance troupe to the Philippines. This is a premier award-winning group of children, 9 to 16 years old, who attend Father Moon and Mother Moon's school in Korea. They were received by President Benigno Aquino III at the Malacañang Palace in 2010. Father and Mother Moon sent these little angels to the Philippines to say thank you to your country. During the Korean War from 1950 to 1953, long before you were born, the communists from North Korea, backed by Russia and China, marched and launched a military invasion into South Korea. The United Nations sent military troops from 16 nations to defend South Korea. This was not a peacekeeping operation. This was the first and only time the UN intervened militarily to protect a nation. It was a miracle. Father and Mother Moon knew that God was helping to protect them and their country. The Philippines sent the finest of 7,420 officers and young enlisted personnel. They were called the Fighting Filipinos. Heroically and sadly, there were 112 casualties and over 300 wounded. 16 were missing in action. The Philippines and Korea were tied together by blood through these sacrifices. Here is part of Father Moon's life. After leaving his home in North Korea, Father Moon was called by God to return to his hometown in godless North Korea to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. When he arrived, he was labeled a heretic, imprisoned, and severely beaten. The police thought he was dead and threw his body outside on a snowbank. His friends and followers found him and nursed him back to health. Later, he was rearrested, falsely accused as a spy, and sent to a communist labor camp in North Korea. In this picture, you can see the prisoner's daily workload. With bare hands, no gloves, they had to fill 1,800 bags of nitrogen fertilizer and load them onto the waiting freight train. If they did not complete their work, their meager food rations were cut. Prisoners were worked to death and usually died within 6 months. But Father Moon survived for 2 years and 8 months. He was freed by UN forces advancing north during the Korean War. This picture shows some of the ways in which Father Moon and other prisoners were tortured. It was a living hell. Throughout his life, Father Moon carried scars of being beaten, but he did not hold resentment against the communist leaders or their people. Instead, he sought to use his experience to help liberate and educate communists. Father Moon met Mikhail Gorbachev in 1990. The occasion was the 11th World Media Conference, which Father Moon sponsored in Moscow, USSR. President Gorbachev was the 8th and last leader of the Soviet Union and its president from 1990 to 1991. Despite Father Moon's bitter experience of the worst that communism had to offer, he did not harbor resentment. When Father Moon met the Soviet leader, he encouraged him in his policy of perestroika and glasnost, literally restructuring and openness. 6 months after the meeting, diplomatic relations between Russia and Korea were established. After meeting President Gorbachev on a world stage, Father Moon met President Kim Il-sung in 1991, the next year. President Kim was the founder of the Communist North Korea and ruled that country from 1948 until his death in 1994, more than 46 years. Father Moon suffered in a North Korean prison under Kim's leadership, but did not hold bitterness or hatred toward President Kim. Father Moon recalled the end of that meeting, quote, "As we departed down the long hallway, I held President Kim's hand. After I had gone, I was told that President Kim told his son, 'President Moon is a great man. I have met many people in my life, but none were like him. He has a broad scale of thinking, and he overflows with heart. I felt close to him. It made me feel good to be with him, and I wanted him to stay for a long time. I want to meet him again. After I die, if there are things to discuss pertaining to North-South Korea relations, you must always seek the advice of President Father Moon.'" Without a doubt, Father Moon is the most qualified person to offer a critique and counter-proposal to communism. He has vast experience, a global outreach, the deepest insights into their philosophy. He has invested the most manpower and finances. He has the longest commitment, over half a century, and the most sincere heart. Father Moon passed away in 2012 at the age of 92 years old. In commemoration, the grandson of Kim Il-sung sent a commemorative wreath. You can see his name written on the bow, Kim Jong-un. This is unprecedented. Normally, North Korea would never give this level of recognition to someone from South Korea. Even more amazing, they gave Father Moon the National Reunification Award and citation. Mother Moon is still alive and now leads this worldwide movement. At 5 years old, she was a refugee fleeing to South Korea for safety. Here's a snapshot of her experience taken from her memoir, Mother of Peace. "As soon as we had crossed the bridge over the Han River, my uncle shouted, 'Get down in your seats!' As I squeezed down on the floor at my mother's feet, a huge explosion shook our truck. I turned my face to the bridge and witnessed the next explosion. I saw a light like a demon's burning eyes piercing the night. Countless civilians, as well as soldiers and policemen, were thrown about like plastic toys, flying everywhere, cast into the river below. A few meters had measured the distance between life and death. Our lives had been spared." Since Father Moon's passing, Mother Moon has led this movement to new heights. Last year, in 2020, she held a world-level peace-building initiative at the Kentek Center in Seoul, Korea. The 3-day event, called the World Summit, had 10,000 participants, including 2,800 international guests from over 170 nations. There were 120 current and former heads of state and government gathered at this event. Many bridges between East and West were on display. First, when the heads of state and government entered the hall, leading the delegation were Prime Minister Hun Sen from Cambodia on Mother Moon's right and former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon on her left. Here's another East-West bridge. This was the 100th birth anniversary of Father Moon, and a special greeting card was sent from U.S. President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump. And from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Honorable Kim Yong-chol, the second in command in North Korea, sent a big flower wreath with a bright red bow. A year before, in 2019, Mother Moon sent a delegation led by Dr. Thomas Walsh, the UPF chairman, to hold a private meeting with His Holiness Pope Francis at their office in the Vatican. A few years before, at the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C., in the Kennedy Caucus Room, Mother Moon inaugurated the International Association of Parliamentarians for Peace. The international co-chairs are Honorable Jose de Venecia Jr., 5-time Speaker of the House of Representatives of the Philippines, on Mother Moon's right, and Honorable Dan Burton, 30-year United States Congressman from Indiana, on her left. Each congressman is seen with his wife. On February 6 of this year, we had the Rally of Hope Philippines, with 1.3 million people attending. This was based on a humanitarian donation Mother Moon made at the end of last year, 2020, after a series of natural disasters in the Philippines. President Rodrigo Duterte supported this event. He said, "I commend UPF for uniting our people from various faiths into a common platform for prayer and reflection. It is imperative for leaders and citizens alike to work together in order to build a strong and empowered global community that upholds the best interests of future generations." President Duterte continued, "Be assured of our steadfast support for your initiatives for peace and human security. Together, let us foster harmony, understanding, and cooperation as we strive to achieve a brighter future for all." Now, let's address for a moment the theme for our program, the role of patriotic youth in nation building. What is a patriotic youth? The best definition is taken from the Philippine Constitution. 6 times the words patriotic or patriotism are used in this landmark document. Patriotic youth, number 1, are involved in public and civic affairs, Article 2, Section 13. What does this mean? The family is where we learn to be involved in public and civic affairs. Honoring your parents is called filial piety. Being involved in public and civic affairs creates good character. But it grows. The individual lives for the sake of the family lives for the sake of the community for the nation, and the nation for the world, and greatest of all is God. These are the levels of patriotic involvement in public and civic affairs. First, children learn to be patriots, to be involved in public and civic affairs in the family. There are many examples of this. Take out the garbage, wash the dishes, cook a meal, change a light bulb, repair a sink or drain. Yes, chores are an important part of learning to be a patriot. Patriotic youth, number 2, promote liberation and development. Article 2, Section 17. The United Nations, UNESCO, defines youth as the period of transition from dependency of childhood to interdependence as members of a community. In his autobiography, Father Moon explains, "To realize that we live for the sake of others is a great achievement that changes our life. The transition from immaturity to maturity, from dependence to interdependence, is the essence of human development. It comes from learning to live for others. This is the spirit and heart of a patriot." Patriotic youth, number 3, serve with utmost responsibility and loyalty. Article 11, Section 1. The most important responsibility we have is to align our mind and body in the proper order. The mind is invisible and provides the internal directive nature. It uniquely interacts with other people through our senses of sight, hearing, smell, and taste. The mind is therefore up or more public in nature. On the other hand, our body is visible. It is the external form. The body is the basis of self-maintenance through our vital organs like the heart and lungs and the digestive system. The body is therefore down or given a lower priority. But remember, both the mind and body are necessary and both are good. More important is the priority of mind over body. Why? Because living for the sake of others defines goodness. The Bible says this, "Therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things will be added to you." Matthew 6:25 and 33. It is our responsibility to correctly align the priorities of mind over body. No one else can do this for you. And yes, being responsible is the basis for loyalty. A patriotic youth, number 4, can be entrusted with the monetary assets of the country and are known for honesty and integrity. Article 12, Section 20. When my mind and body are aligned correctly, then my words and deeds match. What I say, I do. And what I do, I say. People can trust me. Honesty and integrity come from a strong, self-governing connection between my words and deeds. Again, we see the importance of the family. We first learn to unite our mind and body in the proper order in the family by honoring and attending our parents. This is the North Star in our life. It is the root of our conscience and will guide us to do what is right and warn us when we do something wrong. Honor your father and mother. This is one of Moses' 10 commandments. It is found in both the Old and the New Testament. In the Quran, worship Allah alone and do good unto your parents and near of kin. Patriotic youth, number 5, possess self-discipline and embody in their character ethical and spiritual values. Article 14, Section 3. Let no one seek his own good, but the good of his neighbor in 1 Corinthians 10:24. Don't try to be good all alone, but be good in service to others. Allah does not love those who are arrogant and boastful in the Quran 4:36. We should avoid being selfish. The common principle, the universal value behind these scriptures is this: live for the sake of others. It is the foundation of our ethical and spiritual values. This is Father Moon's motto for his life. Patriotic youth, number 6, and finally, they have appreciation for the government, the military, and respect the rights of people. Article 16, Section 5. Everyone can agree that soldiers are patriotic. They are willing to die for their country on the battlefield. But the Philippine Constitution says everyone should be a patriot. Everyone. Politicians, businessmen, religious leaders, teachers, and even youth and students should be patriots. In summary, patriotic youth, according to the Philippine Constitution, are public-minded, mature, responsible, trustworthy, ethical and spiritual, and grateful. The embodiment of these ideals can be seen in our national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal. It was rightly observed that, quote, he expressed his love for the Philippines through his novels, essays, and articles rather than through the use of force or aggression. His last poem, My Ultimate Goodbye, written just before he was executed by firing squad at the age of 35. That poem begins with these words, farewell. My adorned land, region of the sun caressed, pearl of the Orient Sea, our lost Eden. With gladness, I give you my life, sad and with repressed. And were it more brilliant, more fresh, and at its best, I would still give it to you for your welfare at most. In closing, I would like to ask the MC, Miss Nikki Jerusalem, to read this same passage in Tagalog.
Mi ultimo adios, ang huling paalam. Paalam na sintang lupang tinubuan, bayang masagana sa init ng araw, edeng maligaya sa ami pumanaw, at perlas ng dagat sa dakong silangan. Inihahandog ko ng ganap na tuwa, sa iyo yaring buhay na lantan at aba. Naging dakila may iaalay rin nga, kung dahil sa iyong ikatitimawa.
Thank you for your kind attention. Salamat po. May God bless you, your families, and the great Republic of the Philippines, especially its youth. Mabuhay, Pilipinas.
Wow, that was truly an insightful lecture. Thank you so much, Dr. Kittel. Indeed, one should have the spirit of patriotism, and everyone should practice it. As a youth, we are not just anybody in this world. Instead, we have bigger roles to play in building our nation. Do you agree with me? Of course you did. Once again, please give another round of applause to our Dr. Kittel. So before we end, I would like to announce that there will be another live stream on Thursday, April 28th on our Facebook page. So for those who weren't able to attend this time, we still have a lot in store for you, so stay tuned. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell down below to keep you all updated. Thank you so much everyone for watching until the very end. I hope you learned a lot just as I do. Once again, this is your host, Yani Onjo S. Nibato, signing off. Bye!
Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please like and subscribe. You can also turn on the notification bell to be notified for the upcoming videos. Join us for more adventures.